Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sketch in Review, a weekly SNL sketch review podcast. This week, we're taking a deviation from our normal SNL times to bring you the Mikey Day hosted Is It Cake? Just reaction review. We watched it so you don't have to, is I think the best way to put this. Of course, I'm joined with my co-host Connor, as well as our two wonderful guests. Guests, if you want to introduce yourselves.
I'm Jess Hassel, co-host of All Systems Argo.
I'm Jamal Berenger, also co-host of All Systems Argo, a podcast where we look at Oscar movies and watch the movie Argo every single episode.
Argo every time, forever.
It's such a good idea for a podcast.
It is. I mean, we've seen Argo 12 times now, so, you know, there's a mixed... It's a good idea for a podcast. I don't know if it's a good idea for us.
Does it get better with rewatch or worse?
Well, it gets more.
It's complex. I feel like I'm seeing so much more of Ben Affleck's true vision.
It's definitely different. I don't hate it more than when I started, but I also don't think of it as like a movie anymore. So, you know.
When you catch yourself making Argo references to friends and family that they are never gonna get, you know you've created a problem for yourself.
It's a real...
Yeah, because you're not using the very obvious Argo fuck yourself, which is the only reference that anyone's ever gonna get in a normal conversation.
Absolutely. And the references that I'm thinking of are like random lines Victor Garber says at like one moment. It's not even a joke. It's nothing. Like a lot of this show.
I found myself making Is It Cake references to people that did not know I was watching Is It Cake. I walked into a movie theater and there was a picture on the screen. There was like some sort of like game show where somebody was eating candy and they were supposed to decide whether or not it was candy. And it was in a completely different language. And I just like looked to the person next to me and no fucking idea that I was watching the show. I was like, oh, it's Mikey Day's Is It Cake? And they did not react. They had nothing to say to me.
What movie did you ruin by referencing Mikey Day's Is It Cake?
It was the opening whatever they did in place of coming attractions of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh,
not you ruining Jujutsu Kaisen.
All right. So for the people who don't know what Is It Cake is a Netflix game show based off of a meme from the year, Connor, our meme historian of the podcast.
Oh, no, you misunderstand. I just say this happened a couple of years ago and then hope that I was right. I'm going to say 2 years. But usually when I think it's 2 years, it was earlier this year. So I'm going to say it is a 2021 meme.
Time doesn't matter. Time is an illusion. Anyway, so... Because I thought it was 2018, to be honest. So we're making decisions on when like the fake cakes really reached prominence.
I gotta find this out.
But anyway...
I was looking it up too, but I could not... All I could find was that Johnny cheated on his tacos, and I'm going to bring that up later.
Oh.
Wait, what?
There was like a very very small hullabaloo about Johnny putting like fake tomatoes on his tacos, and I have as decoys, which I have several notes in my while watching, which are like, what can they do to the decoys? What is the decoy rules? How do the decoys work?
We needed it.
They all mess with the decoys. At first I thought it was cheating, but then it's like, okay, well, if they're all doing it, is it really cheating?
I think this is one of those things where they didn't think about it, and then someone did it, and then they had to make a rule. Where I feel like they filmed the first episode, and then the judges actively picked the one that he fucked with as the cake. And I think the producers were like, what's going to stop all our contestants from just putting, like, obvious cake parts on the decoy, on one of the decoy. So they had to, like, step in and be like, all right, listen, we're not gonna shame you on the show for it, but cut it out. We want to be the cool parents. We'd rather you do it in our house. So Is It Cake is hosted by SNL's Mikey Day, and it falls. There are 3 distinct portions of the show. There is the Find the Cake portion, in which the contestants, in order to determine what and who will bake the fake cakes for this episode, have to get shown a podium of 5 or 6 objects, and one of them is a cake. If you can't quite wrap your head around that, this is going to be a hard show for you.
I like that you included the Mikey Day pregnant pause before is cake, which he does 5 times every single episode of the show.
But listen, we're gonna shit on Mikey Day a lot for this, but I do feel like if I was getting paid by Netflix to host Is It Cake, I also wouldn't try. Like I can't sit here and tell you that like I'd be like, oh man, Is It Cake? It's pretty great. Anyway, so we have the Find the Cake portion where they do that. Then we have the Is It Cake portion where the contestants who win Find the Cake cook a cake and morph it into a realistic object. And then we get 3 guest judges to come and try to find their cakes. If they find the cake, they're out. If they don't find the cake, then they move to the tasting portion where the judges then taste the cakes, decide who had the best tasting and most realistic cake. They get to move to our final round, which is Cake or Cash, where Mikey Day brings out 2 receptacles of money, one of which is a receptacle of money, one of which is a cake, and they got a 50-50 shot of picking the right one. If they pick right, they get $5,000. If they don't, that $5,000 moves to the next episode.
There's a couple of points of confusion in this whole process. At the very beginning, in every episode but the first episode, this guessing what the cake is means more or less nothing. It just decides who gets to pick first what cake they want to. What thing they want to make into a cake. So there's nothing really there. Another note, this was pointed out to me, the Is It Cake portion is the only portion of the show in which we are 100% sure that everything that they're working with is cake. So it's a very strange name. The next part... After they've guessed, you get brought to the tasting portion, and I only realized after I had to explain this out loud to someone. But the problem with the tasting portion is that it is not judged solely by tasting or solely by how good the details look up close. It is decided by whatever the judges decide of those is more important, and since the judges change every time, that element changes every time. And then finally, the Is It Cash is terrible.
Excuse me, it's Cake or Cash?
Thank you.
Because one of them is Cash.
And in the last episode, they remove Cake or Cash, and you get more time with the judges deliberating over the cakes, and it's better for it.
Yes.
True.
Simply destroying their 3-part formula, trying to copy Nailed It and Baking Impossible. Literally makes it better.
I think that's a good segue because, like, the structure of this show is insane. Like, it's trying to be, at least from what it looked to me, it's trying to be a mix of, like, Nailed It and a MasterChef Great British Bake Off formula. So, like, you have 9 contestants, 9 bakers who move through the entire show, getting eliminated and, like, competing multiple times. But it's also a Nailed It style random, mostly comedic judges and only 3 bakers at a time. And this doesn't really work because you have like one contestant who bakes twice in the entire show, and it's in the first episode and the 8th, and it's like.
Also, the fact that the judges only come in for the second round makes it so that you just have. I started off being mad at Mikey Day, but then it's like this poor sad man is alone for the whole time.
Yeah,
for 8 hours.
For 8 hours, and no one will play chess with him. No one will play Jenga with him. This poor man is alone.
Well, at one point he plays Jenga alone. Why doesn't anyone stop him? Someone play Jenga with him. Like, bakers are sitting in the gallery.
It's so unfortunate. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen like 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown?
No.
It's on Channel 4 of the BBC. And basically the gimmick is, if you've ever seen the IT Crowd the countdown episode from there, that's what Countdown is. Sure. There's like a bunch of letters and you try to make words, and then there's a numbers round where you try to use numbers to go to like a sum or a multiplicative total. Anyway, while the contestants are doing like those rounds, there's like a 60-second timer, and the host, Jimmy Carr, will just go out and do like a random skit where a hen lays an egg on his head or something like that. Just like dumb shit for the audience to do while the fucking contestants are there. And I feel like it's trying to emulate a certain feel of that. But the problem is that you also, like, in the back of your head, you're like, this is 8 hours long. This is a 1 minute, like, little thing that he did. And then they didn't do anything else for 8 hours.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I mean,
and I think that it's just that I think one of the main problems is that all the bakers are boring people. They're just boring people who can't have fun because all they like to do is bake realistic cakes.
Whoa!
Did you see how little when the producers gave them the idea of, hey, let's lie to Mikey Day about a fake cake topic.
Wait, don't forget, let's gaslight.
Yeah, when the producers like, here's a cool idea, let's gaslight Mikey Day about cake terms.
Because Mikey Day, I'm mad at Mikey Day. I'm going to do a small aside to talk about the fact that this man was told he was not kidnapped and brought out of his bed, and then they brought him here, and then he was like, you're on Is It Cake now? No, he had months to prepare to watch any cake show, and this fucker does not know what fondant is.
He doesn't know what fondant is.
What the hell?
That was wild to me.
And so they're rightfully, but someone came up with the brilliant idea to tell these people to fuck with this man because he doesn't know the first thing about cakes. But he's hosting the cake show.
But my point is this is like a fun bit for the gallery and the host to interact. It's in like the second episode, so you're like, oh, this might be like a fun thing now that we've learned the format that we can play with. And none of the bakers really commit that hard. They're all kind of like, hey, we should lie to Mikey Day. They don't even like huddle up like a group. They stay sitting on the bench and just kind of lean awkwardly.
Only 2 of them, Steve and April, are able to commit even a little bit to selling Tiltscape. Which, by the way we're describing Tiltscape cannot express how nothing Tiltscape is. Cannot express how, like, that's 2 minutes of my life that is watching a bunch of random bakers try to convince Mikey Day of a fake term.
I wanted it to last the whole season.
Yeah, I wanted them to tell him in the finale that Tiltscape wasn't real, so that way he said it to multiple judges. And when like a food critic comes on, he's like, "Did you consider the Tiltscape of the cake?" And the judge is like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yep, I wanted them to teach him
basic
fake
joke
terms.
craft. I don't know. They reveal it at the end of the episode. It's not even like it doesn't come up. They just, which my personal guess is they revealed it because Mikey Day knew immediately it was not real because they did not sell the lie. I don't
like I said though.
You're right. The answer is like it's such an easy joke. And the problem is the reason why the joke doesn't work is, and I'm going to be referencing this a lot. I get a really big Lego Masters vibe from this show. Lego Masters, you have a comedian host. They're interacting with a bunch of like weird specialist people. He's trying to he's just goofing around and doing fun jokes, talking about their specialties, trying to find out how their specialty works and all of that. And then at the end, the two judges that they call on are two considered even more specialist people in that area, and then they talk about whatever the fuck is going on. But the thing is, you can do jokes where you're like, let's fuck with, his name's not coming to me,
Will Arnett?
Yeah, thank you.
Job.
Let's fuck with Will Arnett. If you did that, you'd say something to Will Arnett, he'd ham up how he just learned a thing, and then he'd say it in front of the judges that know what the fuck they're talking about, and they would do a cute, actually, Will, we'd like to talk to you about the fact that that's not a word. And then that's the punchline. It's so easy.
No.
But they don't have that part of the show to do it. Sorry.
Exactly, Connor. They don't have anyone who knows about cake or is a baker on the show, except for the first episode. They have food critics, and then they
the fifth episode had a food critic, and then all the other times were comedians.
Once again,
or people who are TikTok famous, which let's face it,
I'm surprised Rebecca Black was on there.
Rebecca Black is on there as
holy shit! Wait, what?
Promoting her tour?
Yeah.
I must have blocked it out because I didn't fucking know.
5 or 6. There are 3 judges every episode. They're in the episode for about 10 minutes max. They are not at the end of the episode. They're not in the first 20 minutes. And, we have not mentioned, this is a 40-minute show. Every episode is 40 minutes long. What on earth? What?
There's no
Nailed
reason
It is
no
a
excuse.
tight 25, 26 minutes. And Great British Bake Off is almost an hour, I think. Because do one of them. Don't do 40
No. We'll
minutes
split the middle.
Stretching everything.
Well, that's why I think they were trying to do something like the Baking Impossible with with the baking engineering thing, where they make cakes, but they actually make cakes with an engineer, a tag team group is the way that show works. And that's why I think they were trying to give more time to, in Baking Impossible, they give time to the engineer. I think they were trying to give time to the sculpting and everything, but they don't have a person or a talking head that's willing to walk you through the process. So it doesn't work, and there's no teams, so there's no real competition. There's just people promoting their baking businesses, which the editors do a bad job at telling them how to do.
Yeah, how do you not just give them hey, say the name of your business, where you work, where it's located, and what kind of realistic cake do you specialize in? What does Steve do? What does Steve do? He said he's been baking fruit cakes that look like fruit for 20 years.
He's a professor, actually.
Oh yeah, you're right. No. They did say he was a professor. That's on me.
At one point, Andrew, the eventual winner of this show, who I'm sure we'll talk about more in the future, reveals in the last episode that he's 1, married, and 2, he and his husband love to travel the world, and that's why he's creating his ending cake. Why do I not know this? Why do I not know this about your main character? I didn't know he was married. Bring this up. What? Heimu says that her sister died at the beginning of the year. Establish that in episode 1.
Yeah, that was out of left field.
That was out of pocket.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say it was disrespectful of the people who edited this to not give us that information in episode 1 and 2.
Yeah. And this goes more to your point of make it an hour if you're going to do this. If you want to have these people and have us know anything about them, make it an hour so that you can have an aside, so that this is all basic fucking reality TV. This is just have a moment where you stop each of the 3 people and have them share literally anything about their life. And they don't do it.
Has been on for 15 years. There is no excuse to not copy everything they do. What are you doing?
Here's the wildest part is that you can take another Netflix reality competition show that they made, Blown Away. You could do the exact same shit with a cake And it would have been, you could have copied it straight up fucking point for point in each part.
How does Blown Away work?
Blown Away works is you have like 10 glass blowers
awesome.
of varying skill level, but all good, all very, very good. They have, some have been like doing it for like 2 years, some for 20. And what it is you get a prompt at the beginning of the episode, and it's like, and it's like the last one where it's like, just make something like based off yourself is generally like the first prompt for it.
Sure.
So you get the backstory of your 10 characters, and then at the end of the episode, whoever does the worst gets eliminated, and gets the fuck out of the kiln.
Good call, because every single, I mean, one of the
because
things the show is,
losing and then just sitting there for like 8 more episodes sounds awful.
like, the camaraderie between the bakers is one of the best parts of the show, but there's also 9 bakers on every episode, and 6 of them sit on a bench and watch.
They really should have given them something to do. Now, I love reality television, so I'm going to reference a show that you would not think to reference right now, but there's a show called Fuckboy Island on HBO. And on that show, right, you have the main show with the contestants, and then when contestants get voted off, they don't just leave the show. They actually go to like a mini version of the show where they have scripted asides that are like funny and entertaining for the audience.
Oh, it's kind of like the hotel part for the jury in Survivor. There's
exactly. And so like being able to like have that would have been so good, and they don't even start. I have so much beef with the editors here because they don't even start showing the nameplates for anyone until the second episode. If you didn't catch that, it's inconsistent throughout the entire show for all of the talking heads. So I didn't know who like was who without like really thinking about it every time there was an aside up until the third episode.
This is a very small aside, but during the finale, they add 3 of the bakers are competing: Andrew, April, and Amu, and then 3 of them get chosen to be sort of assistants, which is a great idea.
Yes.
Bring people who have been disqualified, bring them back to help. It's great.
Awesome.
And then they have 3 bakers left. Why were they not the judges? Why
that would have been dope.
Bakers not the judges.
Oh, that would have been dope.
I was like, there's 3 of them. They're the judges. No, it's Bobby fucking Moynihan.
Hey, don't you dare talk shit about Bobby Moynihan. Bobby Moynihan's my guy.
Bobby Moynihan, but like, he was a lot of fun. He was one of the better judges, but why?
Listen, Bobby Moynihan and I fall into like the same block character whenever you're casting anything. Don't you dare be talking shit about Bobby Moynihan.
I feel like the show hit its stride in the last episode because even like sending the judges away using the like cake wall spinning was like such a good bit. It was so much better than Mikey Day's falling through the gears.
Twice. He did it twice. It wasn't funny either time.
The cake wall.
Back there.
I know I've said this 20 times and I'll keep saying it. The cake wall's nothing. The cake wall is nothing. It's never funny. It's never exciting. They don't do anything. The only weird thing they do with it is that at one point the podiums are cake.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. Listen. So I think the finale introduced that, hey, look, these podiums are the cake now. That should have been like the second episode, and and the cakes get fucking weirder and weirder. Eventually, it's like something on this set is cake. The first person to find it gets to pick who they fucking go against. And it's just people running around trying, like, punching shit, trying to find cake. And then the other big escalation that I really want from this show to really just lean into it. Mikey Day talks about it when he's about to cut the beer.
Yeah.
And he's like, it just explodes. Everyone's like, yes, get a sword and just fucking, and just have it explode. Anytime anyone picked an item, he should have cut through it entirely. They should have gotten him something sharp enough to just...
There are 3 instruments that are used to cut cake on this show. Episode 1, he uses a katana in the first segment, which is what is the first segment called?
Find that cake.
Find that cake.
Fine.
He uses a katana. For every other segment until the find the cake in the finale, he uses a dull, fake cake knife.
Mikey Day cannot cut cake.
No. Why
Why
did they give him a knife that wasn't going to be able to cut through fondant, which is notoriously hard to cut through?
The knife is really killing Mikey Day because he can't. He has to like push.
And Mikey Day doesn't have a lot of body weight to like put on top of it.
No, he's a very tiny man.
He's a svelte man.
a very slim man.
The meager
in the
portion
finale,
of a man.
When they hit the podium, when they bring out the podiums are cake, he pulls out a kukri, which he calls a machete, which is annoying because it doesn't even look like a machete. It's not one.
Yes, I was like,
he did preface it by saying he was an idiot.
He did.
He also
the
kukri is also not. Don't cut a podium with a kukri. He like hacks at it and he can't get any purchase. It's not. Give him an axe, like I think you said, Connor. We've been chatting on Facebook for the entire viewing of this over a week.
At the beginning of the week, we were like, okay, we can't say anything. We need to save it for the show. It broke down on Thursday, and we just had to.
I think that also says a lot about all of our work ethics. Where at the beginning of the week we said we were going to watch it, and then it took until Thursday for one of us to actually do it.
I watched one episode on like Tuesday and was like, "Oh, this is bad," and then I didn't watch another one for 4 days.
I saw the first episode because I was like, "This is probably a good show to fall asleep to." At one point, and so I did that, and I fell asleep to it, and I was like, dope, I'll just keep doing that until it's over, because it's 8 episodes, so that's 2 nights that I'll fall asleep. I did it the second night, and then we learned that we were going to do Is It Cake? As a review, and so I was like, okay, cool, I put it on again, and just forgot to pay attention and did something else entirely for it. So I was like, okay, cool. So I've seen the first episode of Is It Cake like 3 times, 3 or 4 times.
I'm sorry.
It's like the worst episode of Is It
Cake. How did you not go crazy?
That ship sailed long ago.
How many times did you have to hear Mikey Day yell, "Yay!" in the first episode?
My God.
How many times did I have to hear the gear joke?
One more than the amount of times you watched the episode. I won't forgive him for that.
In the finale, he rolls out in a throne of like cake implements. Like it's like a
should have been there the entire time.
Should have been there the entire
Absolutely.
time. They make a joke about where he almost says Game of Thrones, then he says The Witcher. That got a chuckle out of me. If he delivered it well, I would have. But yeah, why is that not? Why was it not cake? Why was it not cake? It should have been cake.
I don't think cake could even hold up even a svelte man like Mikey Day.
That cake definitely could have held up Mikey Day.
Mikey Day, I think, has like weighs negative space.
Yeah, I think the other like good part of it was when Mikey Day decided like fuck it, like I'll just make fun of the props for an episode and did an entire bit on I Ate Beer, and they like did a whole commercial for it too, and I was like, oh, this is an interesting fun thing that could have happened in other episodes too. But nope, instead it's just this one time Mikey Day actually gets to show that he's a comedian as opposed to just like a guy who they paid a lot of money to not try.
Exactly.
I've got a couple of comments about. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I was just gonna say the fact that he keeps making jokes about being fired tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, like it's not a good joke if it's actually like
he wants to be. No, listen.
Like,
I
should be fired.
No, it's not. He's making the joke because he wants to be fired. It's so obvious. He wants to not do this. Can you guys not see that this is a man who took a paycheck and is regretting it every episode?
Because every episode he's being asked to vamp for 12 hours.
Oh my
every day.
And the contestants don't give him anything. to work
Like,
with.
the contestants, they seem like nice people. They all seem cool. I didn't like Andrew at first, but I really warmed to him over the show. Like, he annoyed me less.
I think it's because they cut to less of his one-liners that he gives.
Absolutely.
I liked at the beginning, but then he was mean to Justin, and then I was done.
Fair enough.
It's a lot of like he was like, I'm gonna make better cellophane than
Yeah,
Justin.
right?
And I was like,
go
home. He's a child.
Dude,
I liked him because he was there for a reason. He's like, I'm here to promote my business. I know what I'm doing. I'm here to just be like mildly quirky and then go home and make more money. And I'm like, that's so smart. You did the thing you're supposed to do as a reality show person.
He made $80,000. The biggest thing with Andrew for me is that he wins 3 times in a row, which is terrible for a show with 8 episodes.
Yes.
You shouldn't let that happen. Like,
he's
next
also
season,
clearly
you
one
cannot
of the most
win
skilled
twice.
people there, though. Like the gap too wide between like the people who are there. Like Steve would have been like a really great challenger for Andrew, but he got to like do one thing and then he fucked up a mold the second time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, like the fact that you get to bake, unless you win, you get to bake 2 times in the show. So Steve never won. Steve is like the oldest contestant. I liked him. He did a lot of dad jokes and he was very low key. But he loses both times. He lost with his vegetables. I don't know why.
He should have won without a doubt.
That was incredible.
He and Nina also was really strong and didn't get enough time. But like
Nina with the cat ears.
Nina having fun.
Near and dear to my heart.
But Andrew wins 3 times, so we see so much of him. And sometimes to the detriment of other people who might have more personality. But I mean, Sam's sitting on the bench for 6 episodes, so I don't know. I got no clue what Sam's deal is.
That's true. Yeah, no, there's so many technical problems with this, where it's just like it doesn't know. Like, if we had fun contestants and those contestants were doing bits off stage, then having 3 people on stage would make more sense. If we had, if all 8 of them were up making a cake, we brought up some judges, and the judges need to decide whether or not needed to guess whether or not it was cake. And then they got 1 point if it was cake, or if they thought it was cake, and then they didn't get a point if they didn't think it was cake. And then by the end, the 3 people with the most points play. That's a game. They need to find. In the show, we have
pick a lane, any lane.
Yes.
Because the Find That Cake and the Cake or Cash are basically crapshoots. Like, with lighting, you're not going to be able to tell what's what. You're too far away to really get any real grasp on it. And if it's a speed decision, you're just going to click the one that you're instinctually on. So there's no stakes in any of it.
Yeah, like when
in the finale. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like when Mikey Day asked, "What's her face?" The girl who looks like she works in a bakery. Why'd
Sam?
you pick? Maybe
They all do. They all work in bakeries.
the one
That's their
with
job.
the one with the more sunken eyes.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Anyway, when he's like, "Why'd you pick that one?" and she's like, "I don't know, because it looked like cake." It's like, how do you describe your thought process when you're picking what you think is cake?
Yeah, they literally could have borrowed from, like, Ink Master. When Ink Master had seasons where they didn't have any money, they would literally have the contestants do random art projects for the first challenge instead of actually tattoo. So, and then the second challenge would be actually tattooing. So I feel like they could have borrowed something from this broke-ass Spike. Where they just like made up a thing that wasn't guessing.
This show was made with like $4 and a set that Netflix already had. Like this show, I mean, my ideal version of this show probably couldn't be made because it's basically Jackass and just cakes getting destroyed. Connor, you made a joke about Mikey Day jumping through a cake on our chat, and now it's ruined me because I want Johnny Knoxville as the host of this show, and like every episode, like, well, okay, part of it is that I don't know why they chose a Master Chef, like Lego Masters style system. They have 9 bakers and they bring them through every episode. Why is this not like either a Nailed It thing where it's 3 bakers per episode, or a game show and it's not about bakers and they bring up random people, celebrities or not, to see if they can tell is it cake?
That'd
and then
be cool.
do a bunch of weird jokes about cake getting destroyed, which is what I would do. But, you know, I want to watch a cake get blown up by dynamite.
But or alternately a regular object.
Because they picked wrong.
Cake, like, it's fun to watch it get destroyed.
If they could shoot an arrow, if they could bring in a bow and arrow, like, I don't know, person to, like, shoot an arrow through a fake cake, that would be great. I need a Hawkeye on this.
3 of these anvils are real anvils, and one of them is cake. We've placed them in these hydraulic presses, and you choose which one.
That'd be pretty dope.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Well, they've chosen to do a MasterChef system where they all move through, but because only so many people in the world can make these kinds of cakes, they're very limited in who they can choose. And most of the people don't have TV charisma, which is not their fault. It's not their job. But you haven't given any other judges beyond Mikey Day to bounce off of or do anything. So there's no energy coming from either side of the room. Mikey Day is like flop sweating, and then
here's the thing. I think if they
like cute.
Yeah, I think if they picked like a host who's more offensively comedically talented, to use a term that our show invented. Every week we give one of the actors on SNL the offensive player of the week, and it's like the person who does like the strangest shit on the episode. And like you need an offensive player to be the main host of the shows. Yeah, you need someone who's going to like show up, hit it as hard as they can. The only time Mikey Day is like enjoyable on SNL is when somebody is trying to fuck his wife.
No.
That happens 3 times we've been doing this for like 15 episodes. There have been 3 someone fucks Mikey Day's wife sketches in those 15 episodes.
My opinion is if it happens 3 times, it's somebody's kink. Somebody in the writer's room.
Somebody's into it, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, specifically Mikey Day's wife.
Specifically, there's no...
Well, they need a Nicole Byer. They need, like, Nicole Byer on Nailed It is doing a lot, sometimes too much, but, like, that's fine, because do too much. That's better than too little.
The editors can cut it down.
Exactly. And she has Jacques, who's, by this point, a very capable co-host, and a celebrity or comedian to, like, they had cake or baking experts on Nailed It for 1.5 seasons, and then they said, okay, we're done. We're just going to have Jacques and then somebody who's funny. And this show kind of jumped that gun, I guess, because every single guest is random. It's just, judge is random, and they're only in the episode for 10 minutes, so Mikey Day has no one.
But this might be a hot take, but I think that Nailed It has just as many technical problems with it as Is It Cake. But Nicole carries that show on her back because she is so good at filling the time, filling the space, making this a fun show to watch. You don't care that the game doesn't work because you're here to see her and these fun bakers fuck around. Like, that's it.
Exactly. The concept of Nailed It doesn't work at all, and the game structure is weird. But the basic concept is rock solid. Watch people asked to do impossible things and fail. And then the editors know what they're doing. They know how to make humor out of reality TV. This does not have a concept. The concept is it cake? And then they did not go any farther. There isn't a game. They just, like, I don't know, stitch something together, and it doesn't quite make any sense. I know my camera's weirdly out of focus, so I look like I'm behind a layer of Vaseline. I don't know how to fix it.
Try leaning in and then out.
Now I have to use that. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes it just needs to figure out what it's supposed to be focusing on.
From what I can gather, our audience doesn't talk to us, but I think they'd prefer if most of our faces were blurred out.
Uh-huh. Like a witness protection program.
That's right.
Everyone has the same blurred voice, and you just kind of figure out who's talking based on context.
I'm glad you said stitched together, because we have another thing that we say on this show. Well, there's two things. Whenever there are two particular kinds of sketches that we really don't like. One of them is called a cake sketch. It is a reference to a series of sketches on SNL where they make bad cakes, and there's no real joke. It's just showing these bad cakes, and it's horrible and weird, and nobody likes to watch it. So we were thinking, it would be funny if, wouldn't it be funny if this sketch, if Is It Cake is a cake sketch? It's not. It's another sketch that we call that we've coined a term for, called a Frankenstein sketch, where you take about 5 different ideas and you put them all together in a way that just doesn't feel satisfying or cohesive, and there's no escalation. Nothing works because none of the pieces work together. And that's what this show is. It's just a bunch of ideas thrown together that don't gel together, and no one can. Mikey Day can't lift this out of it. He doesn't have the shoulders to carry this on his back.
And that's why I don't have the same anger, I think, at Mikey Day at this point, because I'm like, Nicole Byer couldn't have saved this. You put anybody into the situation of, you need to vamp for 8 hours, nothing gives you anything. The editors suck. The producers clearly suck. Nobody's bringing you inspiration. You just have, and like the contestants seem like fine people, but they are not up to bouncing off you. So you just kind of, I wish you'd gotten weird with it, because it would have been something.
I think the best part of it is when I was talking about it with you guys. I said he feels more like a camp counselor than a host.
Yeah.
All of the best moments with Mikey Day are not when it feels like he's just a regular guy talking with a bunch of people that he technically has authority over, just like keeping them in line and being like, "Hey guys." He's just handing out beer. Mikey Day handing out beer was my favorite moment, because it was just some guy sitting there with a bunch of people. None of us know what we're doing. We're supposed to sit here for 12 hours. Hey, they gave us beer. Who wants one?
They finally gave us beer this episode.
Justin, you want a beer? Nah, you can't have a beer.
You can't have a beer. Also, the way he pronounces "I." Fuck you, Mikey Day. Fuck you.
Listen,
Like,
Is It Cake is
a
a strange game, because the only winning move is not to play.
But I wonder what the contestants thought they were participating in.
Yeah.
Because at one point, Johnny says, "This is going to be a great show to watch," and he said,
In the finale, he says it in the finale, and it's a lie.
And you're like, what do they think we're seeing? Maybe there was something that was just left on the cutting room floor. Maybe the order was different. I don't know.
Maybe they vastly overestimate how excited we'll be about their realistic cake baking techniques. Where they're all very much like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be our Great British Bake Off, because it's specifically about our thing, and everyone's gonna love it like Great British Bake Off, because they're gonna see the magic of it." And then we all watch and we're like, "No, this is a bad cake show."
Line on that one.
For them, they're at summer camp shooting the shit for 8 hours a day, laughing probably, with other people who do the same thing they do, and that's not common for them,
Yeah.
I'm sure. They're having a good time, and every now and then some weird thing happens. Every day they wake up, and then Mikey Day rolls around on the slowest cake wall in history and fails to cut frosting, and then it's fine. But for us, it's not. You mentioned the Great British Bake Off comparison, which is they never make anything different technically. They're always making cake. They're always making it look like sort of specific, boring, normal objects. And so all of the differences in technique are extremely minor and like minute changes of, well, I'm going to use this kind of edible lacquer and I'm going to use this sort of weird cellophane. And it's like, okay, but I don't bake super realistic
I don't
cakes.
care.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
There's no point of
Like,
entry for like a regular person because it's not explained well and because we don't know anything about the subject matter.
And we're not seeing them build on skills. Like in a MasterChef or a Great British Bake Off, every contestant is already skilled. But we're seeing them learn and we're seeing them build in an arc. It's a reality show arc, and this show has no arc of any kind.
It's just kind of like there for a bit.
And also, since the challenge is essentially the same every time, these chefs are not, they're not tested in different things. You have this situation where Heimu is an incredibly good modeler, but this is a competition that punishes good modeling. You cannot model something good enough to make it look like something that was cast in chocolate. So you're just, she said, I want to make a bust because she's good enough that she can model this stuff like clay to make a bust, and then they pull out 5 marble busts, and you cannot model something like clay to look like a marble bust in 8 hours. So she just fucking loses, even though she made an awesome bust. Because
it was incredible, honestly.
Yeah. And when they choose it, when Bobby Moynihan cannot, I love Bobby, but I can't. Bobby Moynihan and somebody from, it doesn't matter. Why am I talking about
It's just Bobby Moynihan. He's the only one who matters. And Heidi Gardner. They should have had an SNL alum on every episode so that Mikey had a friend for 20 minutes. Mikey needed a 20-minute friend date.
Number 2, why are Nicole, Byer, and Jacques not on an episode? That's cross-branding that, like, writes itself. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. But they probably didn't want to fucking be tied to it.
They're like, no, I don't want to do that.
We're good.
Looks like it sucks.
But on that point about the judges, right? I feel like you should not structure your show so that the judges feel bad for getting it right.
Absolutely.
I would just lie. Like, what? Yeah. I'm not going to lose any sweat off my back if somebody who's, like, from Iowa wins $5,000.
Yeah, also the amount of money people are, like, winning. I understand that, like, for some people, any amount of money is life-changing. But, like, $5,000 is not really, like, a real-world life-changing amount of money these days. That's, like that's a few... What is their yearly income that $5,000 is, like, more than, like... Because if it's 2 months, like, if that's, like, a 2-month pay period, you're making $30,000 a year. If $5,000 is worth, like, 2 months of your time for this.
Like, Andrew makes $80K. And $80K is a lot of money. It's life-changing at a certain level, but, like, it's not insane.
That's a year. He gets a year to just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Like, they make max 10... Ooh, we haven't... So they make max 10,000 an episode, and that max is amazing. Because 5,000 is what they get if the judges cannot find their cake. So that's a crap.
No. Only if they win. Because even if they don't find your cake, you don't got the best cake, you're still screwed.
Yeah, if they like your flavor more than someone else's flavor, even though like they're just regular people who all probably have different taste in cake.
Yeah, if taste is a part of it. The judges have to be chefs. They need to be bakers, or else we're not going.
At least 2 of them do. 2 of them need to be like. If taste needs to matter, then 2 of them need to know what taste is, and one of them can be Bobby Moynihan being like, I like chocolate more, and it's fine.
Yeah, because Bobby Moynihan will know to sit down and shut up. We know this because we've seen the 100,000 other baking shows that exist.
For those listeners who have not seen the show, which is hopefully all of you, it's hard to express how nothing the judges are. They are all random people. We don't know them. They don't know the bakers. They show up, and they have to, based on nothing, decide who gets money, including the $50,000 at the end, is random people who just kind of go, like this one. Like Heimu's bust cake, which, again, is amazing. They choose her bust it's a crapshoot. They're like, I don't know which one it is. We're gonna go with 4. We're not confident in our answer, and it is Heimu's cake, and it's like, that fucking sucks.
Get fucked, Heimu.
And they
Blows.
audibly feel sorry for like doing it, right? And like the thing that also trips me out is that since that part doesn't necessarily decide the money if 2 people both aren't guessed, it's not like anything comes out of that. There's no like resolution. I don't know. I feel like there should be money in that goes somewhere. Or
so
it just feels like it falls flat.
So obviously the budget was an issue on this project. Do we think that maybe this might be like Mel Brooks's The Producers situation, where Netflix built this as like a tax write-off? We're gonna find out Mikey Day got paid like $100 million to host this.
Mikey Day's dead in a fucking ditch somewhere because he said he was gonna blab about Netflix.
It's definitely like Netflix needed content, and somebody had the idea, hey, let's do an Is It Cake show, and then they said, okay, I don't know, 20 million, I guess, here, go do it. And then whoever was given 20 million immediately realized, oh, we can't, that's not enough money. That's like 10 million of that is cake budget. What do we do? And then, okay, you get 10,000. Well, you get 5,000 for winning the judging contest. Then, and it is incredible that this segment is in 7 out of 8 episodes.
It is sad.
You get to the winner. Only the winner moves on to Cake or Cash, where, as you said, there are 2 receptacles. They change. A sack of money, a piggy bank, a basket of money, other money things.
A purse of
be
money.
A coin flip.
Yeah, you can't
be a
tell.
coin flip.
They're both perfect.
Yeah.
You can't tell. You go, that one's cake. And then they cut into it, and is it cake? If it is, you get $5,000 more. And if you fail, it rolls into the next Cake or Cash, so it goes up. Why is there no choice involved? Why isn't it like you can choose, you get 5,000, or you can choose to do Cake or Cash to get more money? And if you don't choose to do it, it rolls in, so it gets more and more tempting, but it's a crapshoot, and you might not make anything. That's a 2-second change. That's a 2-second change, man.
That's the thing about Cake or Cash. Cake or Cash was an awesome first pitch, and then you needed to come up with the next step. You needed to realize that wouldn't work. And then, yes, like, that's fucking Cash Cab. This isn't new. But if you apply that, there it is. Like, you just need to watch another show.
Did they not do a test episode of, like, most of the time game shows have like, all right, we'll do an episode, we'll send it to the producers, see what they think of it. Did they do like a test run where they brought in 3 random other people to do it, and like those people were just like way better on camera or something? I don't understand how you get out of the testing phase of this.
I don't think there couldn't have been a test run for anything, because like honestly, there's so much wrong with it, and like because the money, like the amount that you win is so small, like that everybody can be friends. Like, like if they were competing for more money each time, we would see a lot more like sass and like smack talk from the sidelines.
They wouldn't help each other.
Energy. Exactly. They wouldn't help each other. They would want to kind of see, not necessarily like see each other fail specifically, but they would not be as eager to provide everyone else with, oh, this is how I did this.
Mm-hmm. Or when fucking what's his face runs over to help pull the like mold out.
Yeah.
Or it's like that wouldn't fucking happen if they were being like truly competitive. And you can tell that they're not being truly. You can tell they're not being truly competitive because when they get to pick the second baker to help them, nobody picked Steve. How do you not?
Yeah.
How do you not immediately pick the best guy there?
Yeah. I was like, "What? No, pick Steve. What are you doing?" Like, well, or if they do help each other, it would matter. Like every now and then in MasterChef, which is a high intensity competition, somebody will mess up badly, and one of the other chefs will help them out at their own cost. And it's like, okay, well that that means something because there's money on the line.
It's like an honor among thieves.
Exactly. Like here it's like, okay, well yeah, Justin, if you didn't help him, you're a dick.
Yeah.
So you're 18 years old.
What are you going to do, not help him?
It's
Like-
just a fucking convention. They just show up. They say the name of their business on live television. They make very little amount of money, and they're going to sell so many $2,000 to $5,000 cakes from their insane boutique business now because people know what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't even build a lot of things that, like, the bakers themselves felt were complex.
Absolutely.
So
Right?
Everyone on a
nobody
fucking
was
box.
challenged.
Oh my god, Andrew
You
did
want a
win on a
fucking
box.
box.
Yeah, that is just a box cake.
Which one?
The suitcase.
On the last
Oh, the
one,
suit-
the box. Suitcase,
How
yeah.
on earth did the sewing machine not win? How did the sewing machine not win? That thing was beautiful. You
It
could
had a
turn
light
shit
bulb.
on it. It had a light bulb. Psych. I mean, Andrew's cake was very nice. It was very well made. The leather was great. I'm sure. It's fine. April not winning is a damn crime. That's
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
like
And here's the thing. Us lay people, we go in and we're like, oh shit, that fabric's cake. That's amazing. If they had chefs up there, they'd be like, that's just fucking Flexine. Let's do the one that's a functioning sewing machine.
Yeah, the fact that it turned drove me nuts.
Yeah.
again. There's a version of this. There's 18 versions of this show in parallel universes that are something. But one version of the show is you go really competitive and serious, and you make an actual reality show arc, and you're like, okay, we're going to bring in experts, and you got to know what you're doing, or they're going to know. And we can have the experts explain to us what's happening while it happens. Like, maybe the comedian is the only one who comes in and doesn't know which cake it is. And they're the ones who you have to fool, whereas the experts are like, okay, let's look at the stitching. Let's look at
Mikey
this.
Day being fooled would have made this a great show.
Yeah, if Mikey
Mikey,
did.
Mikey Day for 8 episodes.
Just like fooling Mikey Day and making him look dumb for like 8 episodes would have been phenomenal, instead of having to deal with like his like trying to like do different inflections and serial
Yeah.
killer stab cakes.
And here's the thing. I understand a little bit why Mikey Day was like their draft pick for this. And it's because he specializes in saying what's going on in a comedic way. Where it's like, that's the point of the joke, is like his entire inflection to it. And it works. It works like 30% of the time. and but the problem is that like there's nothing to build off of in Is It Cake, so he's just kind of like, they're using the fondant.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
literally wrote fucking theater kids and their weird ass voices. It was like they hired him for inflections and references.
I wrote a series of hateful comments about Mikey Day. I went on a tirade. I've got Mikey Day as a terrible host. Mikey Day is a Kyle Mooney character of a dipshit kid pretending to be a TV host. Mikey Day does this stupid fucking shuffle with his feet like he's uncomfortable being on stage. No one tell him that he's been doing this for the past several years. Mikey Day single-handedly disproves the concept of America being meritocracy. Mikey Day makes me physically ill. Mikey Day thinks he's the class clown, but no one's laughing. He's making the rest of the class embarrassed for him. Please return to the lesson.
I had only one because those are incredible. I had only one, which is Mikey Day is a kite in the wind, wispy, insubstantial, and he usually doesn't get off the fucking ground. Because this man is just throwing out trash jokes. Like,
Oh my god.
I'm so glad that we got our Siskel and Ebert in.
Oh my god.
why couldn't they go chaotic? Like, give me a version of this show that's just insane, where it's
Yeah, imagine
just people-
imagine Pete Davidson hosting with like his fucking chaos trash goblin fucking energy.
And
like
honestly,
they drop Anthony Jeselnik into a room and he's got to find out which thing in a kitchen is cake, and it's the microwave. The
Oh,
microwave is on, and he says it's empty cake. What?
Exactly. Like, honestly, like, even if they weren't gonna just like blow things up that were cake or not cake, they could have definitely like just hired like a prop expert or like one of the fuckers that was on Face Off.
Yeah, hire Nick Cage.
You know what I mean? Just like somebody who like does like props or items and then just make different sets and something in the set is cake. And maybe they get to get closer and like touch things or something. Well, maybe not touch things, but get closer and like inspect or something.
No, I just want to see someone full force hand into something that they think is cake, only for it not to be cake. Just like no, I know it. It's gonna be this. It's gonna be like they're in the kitchen. It's the microwave, and they're like, it's not the microwave. It's the cabinet. Boom! And you just watch him punch a hole in the cabinet.
They give Mikey Day a knife. He goes around. He has to find what's made out of cake. He walks over to the microwave. He's like, it's gotta be cake. He brings the knife down on the microwave. The knife falls apart. The knife was cake.
Oh my god.
You have for today's Find the Cake challenge, we gotta go outside, and they walk into the Burbank set. Today we're on Cash Cake Cab. Get in this cab. You've got 30 seconds. Something's cake. Is it the steering wheel? Is it the top? Like, find it. Oh wait, it's the seat. Fuck you. It's cake.
We're gonna bring you.
Fuck you. It's cake is the new show. That's what it's gonna be. We need.
We're gonna bring you into Jerry Seinfeld's old apartment from the show. One of the items is cake, and it's the puffy shirt in the bathroom. Listen. I think that this is a great show that we should pitch to Netflix as like the spin-off.
This Fuck You, It's Cake is an incredible concept. Just Adult Swim at 2 a.m. energy of anything, you know. You're in the middle of the woods. Two of those animals have been tranquilized and are not moving. One of them is cake. We have a sniper up there. Okay, you're gonna take the rifle, fire it, choose which one's cake. The gun is cake, you fool. You think we'd let you shoot an animal? We're not monsters.
I love the vaguely threatening air of "fuck you, it's cake." Like there is this air of someone put a bag over my head and now I'm here. They haven't told me what happens if I found something that isn't cake, and I don't want to find out.
The veiled threat of cake. I love the idea of just using like different like well-known sets, like from different like TV shows and sitcoms.
Yeah, so you get like the Cheers set, and it's Norm's seat is cake. It's just
no, the beer is cake.
Yeah, the beer inside, so it's a real like mug, and Norm's sitting there with like his mug of beer, but the beer inside is the cake.
Ted Danson hasn't moved in a while. Don't cut him. He's not cake.
Ted Danson just does that.
Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, and it's a replica of the Star Trek Enterprise. Something on this Enterprise is cake. Guess what? It's Worf. Every other one is actual wax, and if you had cut it, we would have sued you.
You know what I really want is if they used a flamethrower for one of the Is It cakes.
Oh, that would have been phenomenal. Especially, do that for the s'mores cake.
That would have been great.
He comes out with a blowtorch one time, and it's nothing.
To heat up the knife. He heats up the knife, and then it's like...
He heats up the knife because his glass wrists can't cut chocolate.
Why is it not a cool thing every time? Why is it not different weapons?
Because they ran out of budget. It's so obvious that they built a set.
Use the sword
No.
time.
Think about it.
They got it from the Witcher set.
Yeah, it's true. They built a set that only had 3 kitchens because they realized that if they put 9 kitchens in, they wouldn't be able to give anyone any money. They could only afford the slow gears. It's why the cake wall turns so excruciatingly slow.
I did think it was so sad that there's only 3 kitchens and that Mikey Day is too afraid to go behind any of the bakers or enter the like kitchen space. Like even in Great British Bake Off, like they're so close together and
Okay, listen.
People just lick your ear.
Bakers.
So
like, ask them questions, anything.
And listen, I'm sure that like someone somewhere is gonna say something like, "Oh, this was filmed during COVID," but it's like they're fucking sitting on the bench all together, hanging out.
Yeah, I love the idea that like Mikey Day was just like too scared to like go into the kitchen, like he like felt like he would like desecrate it, or that he's like literally so thoroughly uninterested in the lives of the bakers that he did not think to ask them questions. Like, he keeps calling April Canada, and she has this whole thing where she says she's Filipino, and she feels very connected to her Filipino culture, and you're like, please stop calling her Canada.
You know what's wild is I didn't even know. I must
Canada,
have blacked
like,
out. That must have been like part of the
confused.
points where I just like
black out. It was 2 sentences.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
It was 2 sentences that definitely should have gotten more time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Here's the thing. Is that like the only time that those 2-sentence interludes caught me was when one of them said, "My sister died this year, and I'm baking cakes for her."
Yeah.
You remember when? Remember when? I think it was Mikey Day asks. I think it's April. Do you have your daughter's shoe with you right now? And I like. You have what?
Famous cold reader Mikey Day.
Screaming.
Also, I think there was a legit Mikey Day thing that got me when he's talking about one object and one of them says, "Oh, I made that for my wedding," and he goes, "You did what? What did you say?" And that's real. That's a real bit.
Oh,
Somebody was like, somebody didn't tell Mikey about the wedding thing, and he was like, "What?
You did what?
Okay, you made what? You did this for your wedding?"
Speaking of weddings, there's this part. Constantly, the judges have more of a rapport with the contestants than Mikey.
Yes.
Where there's one point where a judge, where one of the judges gets on, and then Johnny's cheering for them, and then the other one gets on, is like, "Better be cheering for me too," and then he cheers for that one, and then there's a bit there, but then there's another one where someone's like, "Marry me." "Oh wait, you're already married," and then or something like
the guy, the host of Queer Eye that was on there. I think he said, "Marry me." "Oh wait, you're already married to Andrew."
I might have conflated 2 marrying bits actually.
Oh
but
yeah,
yes,
because there's
that
another
is the guy from that one.
Because there's another bit where what's his face, the guy who won the first episode.
Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny. Where Johnny asks Steve if he'll make his wedding cake, and Andrew, upset that he's not the center of attention, is like, "Oh, I get it. You don't want me to bake your cake." And then Johnny's like, "Well, I wouldn't expect the groom to," and we don't get like a reference to the fact that Andrew's married there. They just leave that open ended.
Crazy.
I thought that was a judge, but yeah, that was just the
contestants hanging out
on their own.
Yeah.
Also, the one who kept referring to Johnny cheering was, I believe, Tony Rock, Chris Rock's brother. Who would
good.
Be a better better host than Mikey Day.
That's correct.
In his, so many different hosts or judges would be better hosts, and you can tell that from 10 minutes.
Fucking like.
Well, actually, they brought on 24 people that would have been better hosts than Mikey Day.
You know what's funny? Is they actually had 25 because Andrew would have been a better host.
Andrew would have been Johnny would have been a better host.
Yeah. But here's the thing, Andrew. There, you've got a colorful personality who's going to host this show, and he knows about cake, so he can probably explain it. It's just there's so much. Also, Netflix reality competition shows have a habit of the person.
Bad?
No, not necessarily. I mean, a little bit, yes.
Sometimes.
But legitimately, every single one that I've seen, at least for the first season, whoever I want the least to win always does, without fail.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like for Netflix reality shows, they don't have rules laid out properly, so you never really get a feel for what is supposed to be happening. and what like the constraints that make the whole situation difficult are. Like we never hear somebody say, "Oh my god, it's impossible to build this cake in 8 hours." Like you never hear anything
because there's
like
no
that.
steaks. They need to pull out a grill, slap some steaks on it.
Yeah, like in the last episode, they get 12 hours to build their cake, and it's like, is that a lot more?
It's about 4 hours more if I did my math right. I don't know if that helps.
Things they're making aren't more complicated except for the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
And the size of the stupid box.
yeah, but like,
suitcase. Which okay, you can make 2 cake flavors. What is this? Who like, there are no rules. You could just make 2 cakes.
Honestly, that they should have like producers should have slipped that as an idea in like episode 3. So that way it could have been like, oh snap, this person won because they had 2 cake flavors. Now we all have to make 2 cake flavors. And like now we got to get more, we have to do more in less time. You know what I mean?
Like the challenge needs to ramp up before, or the rules need to be clearly established. You can't mess with the decoys, which I definitely think they stopped because Johnny won.
Johnny did it once, and then no one did it ever again.
No, that's not true because Andrew did it with the cups, and someone
Nina
else did
glued
it.
the chips to the side of the bowl.
Yep. There are a few small, and it's just
Oh my God.
when and
Everybody
how.
was doing it throughout the whole show. I was at
But
first, that's why I thought it was
only
shitty
see
at
it.
first.
Ooh, here's a very, very small continuity thing. Why sometimes do the judges get brought cake to taste, and sometimes they go cut it themselves, and it's not based on who wins or whether they find the cake, because they state in the first episode, oh well, they found your cake, you have to bring it to them. But then that rule is out the window. Sometimes
that
they bring
rule's-
it to them if they won.
That rule specifically is not out the window. Anytime that they find the cake, the baker does bring them the piece to try. So that rule stays flat. The problem is that in one random episode, in either the second or third to last episode, they completely flaunt what they normally do, where they're like, oh, is that cake? If they find that it's cake, they eat it then. If not, we move on to the next one. And then at the end, they all go up to those cakes that they were fooled by and try them. Except for one episode where after they're like, oh, it's not cake, then suddenly the bakers go and bring them a slice anyway.
I think it's because it's awkward as fuck. Like trying
Yeah.
to figure out, like, I think it's literally just sheer awkwardness where it's like, okay, who cuts this? I don't have enough hands for 3 plates. Like, do we all eat off 1 plate and we all already have our forks? Like, I think there was just like confusion with like, how is the baker supposed to hand out 3 plates? Because Mikey Day is not helping.
Yeah, no, Mikey Day.
Not helping.
Mikey Day's not helping should be the subtitle for this show.
Is it cake? Mikey Day sure isn't helping.
I can't wait for the oral history of Is It Cake in 10 years where people talk about what an epic boondoggle it was, where you just like, yeah, nobody knew what they were doing. There was no, yeah. They were like, do it this way this time. And like, you know,
This is the
like,
Fire Fest of Netflix reality TV competitions. We find out that Mikey Day was so like pessimistic about it because he had to suck dick for water every day. Which listen, as much as Firefest had like terrible planning and all that shit, that dude came through for them. He was willing to suck dick for water.
For sure there's gonna be a thing where all of the contestants are like, yeah, we sat on a chair for 8 hours. If we weren't chosen, and okay, the winner, first of all, why is it fucking make it take it rules where the winner keeps going and then the winner chooses the ones they want to bake against? No.
Yeah.
No.
That didn't make any sense.
There's no
Producers
rules.
need to be making these decisions for like what's best for the show, what their challenge, what the like bakers are best at, who's the most interesting person. Like it shouldn't be Andrew kind of wants to play against like Nina and Steve today or whatever because he won 3 times in a row.
Yeah, he like was like, oh, I want competition actually, so I'm gonna put the climax of this whole thing, like in episode 3.
What a
it's like
no. When he's
they
like,
were the
I'm gonna
three,
name the 2 other winners when we move to the elimination portion. I'm gonna name the 2 other winners as my competition, so that way when I beat them, I know I'll win the rest of it because then I only have to beat people that they beat. Which, like, listen.
Wow,
It's a
cynical way of looking at
it's
it.
a good.
That's how I saw it. I thought he was like, I'm hot shit. I could beat all these fuckers.
Yeah.
And then
Here's the thing: is when I watch like specifically competition reality shows, I'm always like, all right, how do we game this the best? which putting all 3 winners
Wild.
in the elimination round together is just such a good bet for. Not for the 3 winners, but for everyone else, because it guarantees only 1 winner is making it to the finale.
Yes, which again is when producers should be like,
No.
you're not gonna, no. Just we want to talk before. Yeah, we're gonna say you get to choose them. You don't though. Like you're gonna choose. We tell you to.
If you screw up the shot, we'll just keep doing it until you say it correctly.
You're gonna slit Justin's throat today. That's what's gonna happen. Do it. He's 18. We need him out.
He needs to get home for his high school graduation. Send him.
I was crying.
The high school
He
graduation
when
thing
he
was kind
said,
of cute. It was wild, but
it was adorable. But when he said $5,000 is a lot for a high schooler, I was like, it's a lot, and I am an adult. It's not enough to like make or break me, but it is enough to like.
Oh yeah, no. Like
Get me through a little.
It's a solid amount of money.
Chunk
I
of
wouldn't
change.
I wouldn't say no
I wouldn't
to
say
$5,000.
But if you run a boutique cake business, it's nothing.
Yeah, because
You're
the
making that in
boutique
a
cake
week.
is gonna be $2,000. Just
It's
basic
exact-
cakes.
it's also crazy that like some of these people, well, beyond whatever they were paid to be on the show, make nothing. Like, what, 4 of them don't win ever, and they don't make like anything, which again is fine, but it's like,
You know, they
Especially if
make
you don't get a lot of
yeah, they
time.
make whatever the appearance fee is for being on a reality TV show.
yeah. And if they're likable enough, they're gonna get some extra business, and I'm sure some of them will.
Listen, I'm sure
Andrew's gonna make hella bank.
every goth who didn't know about Andrew's store in Des Moines, Iowa, is going to show up.
You're absolutely
Absolutely.
correct that I want a heart. Yes, I do want that. My next anniversary. Thank you.
Like, if they are smart, they will bring Andrew back as a judge next. Well, I mean, if they're smart and there's a second season of Visit Cake, it's going to be a different show. They're going to have to revamp. I mean, they're not, because if it makes anything close to Nailed It hasn't changed in 7 seasons. And as you said, the game is broken. It doesn't work, but they don't need to change it. It makes hella money. So
Here's the thing. I think we might be the only 4 people to have watched Is It Cake? Oh, no. I know one other person who has seen it. So there are 5 people who have watched Is It Cake total so
Us
far.
and everyone we dragged into it.
Yep.
I saw one review of Is It Cake, and well, 2. One was like, I really liked it. It was really low key and a nice time. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Sure, if you're watching this for yeah, okay. And then one person was like, I want this to be more chaotic, and that's the right answer. It's a right answer.
Listen, if you're
There's
looking,
2 answers. It's I want to get really fucking high, and I just want to stare at a bunch of things, and like once I snap back into consciousness, I'm like, wait, that was cake? Or I want an actual television show. Those were the 2.
Here's the thing, I
guess they're both right.
it kind of falls into a category of, and this is one of my hotter takes, of just like, it's something to watch, which is such like a harsh thing to say about TV shows, but there are TV shows where like the answer is, oh well, you could watch it if you need something to watch. I also throw Squid Game in there too, as like that's something that like you can watch it if you need something to watch, but I wouldn't suggest it.
I don't know if I would put Squid Game in the same.
No. They're both in the category of, if you just want something on that doesn't matter. They both.
I think there's different levels of quality, but I agree that Netflix is the king of that kind of show. Of like, yeah, this might be less good, it might be more good, but like this is something to put on when you get home from work and you want to have sound while you're cooking. Like,
Yeah.
Speaking to Connor's point about watching it high, there's a version of this show that exists where we don't see the process of baking the cakes until after, so we get to guess and see them all side by side for longer than 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
again, make this a game show. The bakers are not there. The bakers don't matter. The bakers are people behind the scenes who make the cake.
The baker should be where they can't be seen on television because they have no personality. They should just bake, and it's fine.
And we give them a lot of money for it, and that's fine. And then the show is for you to watch at 2 a.m. and you wake up blurrily and go, wait a second, why are they in a car? Is that cake? Is everything okay?
Car
what am I watching?
I would love that.
You made a good. Sorry. Oh no! You were gonna.
Oh, I just said I would love that so much.
Oh, okay. You just said a thing that I just realized. Every single person that was making cakes probably made more money than anybody on the fucking show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Than any of the talent.
I
can't imagine.
I want to know who was making the cakes for the Find the Cake and Cake or Cash portions.
Yes,
because they're great too.
The cash cakes are indistinguishable, probably because
Except for the cash register.
Yeah, the cash register. That was bad. But like,
I was like, oh my god.
But the bad?
They could have
sack?
fucked the lighting and made that work.
Yeah.
I was shocked that there were cakes that were not made by the bakers. I'm like, wait, why? What? I thought they were making. Why are we? What is this? What? Like, unless you're gonna let them get really close and like use their skills, but they're just as confused as the judges are when they have to pick, because you have 20 seconds to look at a weird light and go, it's number one. I got 20 seconds.
20 seconds, 20%
Why do
chance.
all three judges have a podium? They all have a podium. One person makes the decision. That's goofy. That's insane.
It's because they ran out of money and they couldn't buy the second and third iPad to install the software on.
No, you know why? It's because
They needed to give it
to have that single shot of each judge at a podium so that it felt like a reality show.
Yep.
But it was unnecessary. Just make it one desk and space them out.
Why is only one person choosing? Like, yeah. If three of them could choose different cakes, it would be too much of a crapshoot, and you'd never get through. That makes sense. Build a better system. Build a system where one person does not decide for, and it doesn't change. It doesn't change who gets to pick. It's always the middle one. Heidi Gardner just gets 3 picks.
No one saw the problem with that.
I think the way to modify it is, first off, you get the money to buy the second and third iPads so that everyone can get a vote.
No iPads. Mikey Day just needs to be a host and say, "Time's up. What's your answer?"
Fair.
That's it.
You know what? Fair. But anyway, how it should work is each host just gets to pick what they think is cake individually. If they're right, that baker it's the point system that Connor had come up with earlier where just, and so it's possible if they all pick the same one and it's cake, that person gets 3 points, they're kind of screwed. But also
like a strike system, like Family Feud.
Yeah. Yeah, like Family Feud.
To be like, is it cake?
Steve Harvey would
kill this. Absolutely.
He's busy being Judge Steve Harvey right now, but
Jesus.
I don't think they can afford Steve Harvey right now.
Steve Harvey would be so
they couldn't
confused by the concept, and that would be the whole show.
Steve Harvey would just walk around being like, oh, what's up now? I don't have anything to do, and it would be awesome. Like, did Mikey Day walk towards the like bakers one time, and a producer was like, no,
Stop.
go back. No, go back. We gotta get the shot. Stay on the cake wall. We have a camera pointed. If you don't be on the cake wall, nothing is in the camera shot. We can't reset. And then they did that for.
We only have 8 hours. How are we supposed to reset the camera if you move?
How do you?
Oh.
I can't believe there's 8 hours.
All right. We're coming up on almost 90 minutes talking about this show.
Good.
I'm gonna call it there. Please don't watch Is It Cake? It's not worth your time. Netflix, if you're listening, hire us to fix it. And I think we've got a wild thing.
Give us $30 million, we will make you a hit.
Absolutely. And we are not expensive. We are very cheap.
I don't know if it'll be a hit, but it will do gangbusters with the 2 a.m. Adult Swim crowd. Trust us.
Off the Air has been on for 6 years, so Is It Cake could be on for...
All those fuckers that won't shut up about Midnight Gospel, they're coming for us.
No, it's me.
This is the one.
It's me. I'm that guy.
If you're chasing that Smiling Friends money, talk to us, Netflix.
We got you.
Ugh.
Thank you for joining us. It was a lot of fun to have you two on. All Systems Argo. Available wherever podcasts are found.
Yes.
You can follow us at ArgoPod on Instagram and Twitter.
Ooh.
Yep.
We don't have an Instagram or a Twitter.
Are we the Argo rule on Twitter, or did we change it?
Our social media manager is getting us set.
Ooh.
Wait, actually, this is an excellent question. You two are experts in the field. How does this compare to Argo?
I'm gonna die. I wasn't ready for that today. The fact that it has any level of vibrant color makes the show superior.
It has colors other than brown. On the other hand, there are moments in Argo where I care about anything. And Is It Cake doesn't have even one. So
I will say there are no hypercharged like moments in Is It Cake in the way that we have like the scene with Bryan Cranston and the scene at the airport. I'm so sorry for taking this seriously.
No. I want you to take this seriously. It's also like a Marvel end credit scene where I get to see like the villain of the next movie.
When you two are on All Systems Argo, you'll understand everything. Yeah, the scene where the asshole airport security guard is like fucking with them before they leave. That gave me so much more energy than Mikey Day's entire existence in Is It Cake. It's just
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, listen, that scene's very tense.
Also, Is It Cake has talking heads, but somehow we get more backstory on the characters in Argo. The movie does not care about anyone trapped in that embassy.
So, the random actors who have to hide in an attic in the Canadian ambassador's house in Argo have more camaraderie and like legit sort of chemistry than any of the bakers in Is It Cake. And the bakers in Is It Cake do nothing but sit next to each other for 8 hours an episode.
Yeah. So you would think that they would have like had more rapport. Like at least in Argo, they like fuss at Wichicom for going outside and smoking, even though they were about to get killed.
Steve, I think.
Yeah, I think that was Steve.
Listen, if they were just okay with cigs inside.
Stop! Oh my god, that is like one of my main things in Argo. Every time I see somebody
I
smoking,
saw you, Bob. You can't. It only takes one of them, Bob. You can't.
Every time I like see someone smoking indoors in a movie or in real life, I'm like, oh, it's just Argo now. Remember when you could smoke indoors?
Wait a second. It's all connected. Jess, what is our introduction to Ben Affleck in the movie Argo? He puts a cigarette in cake.
Oh my god.
All right, we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna leave it there. All Systems Argo. Available wherever major podcasts are. Same with us. If you liked Is It Cake or you like our regular sketch and review stuff, email us at billyhatemail@gmail.com. That is a real email address.
We should get an email.
They're very cheap. In fact, they're free if you use Gmail. Once again, thank you for coming on the pod. Thank you for sticking around for 90 minutes to watch us fucking tear Mikey Day a new one.
Oh, you'll cry when you're on our podcast.
have 5 hours of Oscar.
Oh,
and Argo.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. Catch us on All Systems Argo eventually. I don't know when. Connor hasn't told me when we're doing it.
I think we've got a ballpark idea, but I don't think we've got the date yet.
And until then, support local comedy. So long, everyone.
Bye.